l'armée défend donc sa population, ils ne veulent donc pas tirer. Panique donc a étudié, bienvenue au 20h.
Ok. Qu'est-ce qui va donc se passer en Afrique? Nous sommes avec vous, madame et monsieur. Rebonsoir à tous et bienvenue pour cette...
3, 2, 1, go!
Ok, c'est bon. Bon!
Yaoundé, Cameroun où l'annonce est lapidaire, un sérieux problème se pose au palais présidentiel. Derrière cette formule laconique se cache une réalité bien plus complexe et explosive qui secoue les fondations de l'État camerounais, quelques jours seulement après la proclamation controversée du 8e mandat du président Paul Biya. Le palais de l'Unité, lieu symbolique du pouvoir, est désormais le centre névralgique d'une tension politique et populaire sans précédent, alimentant les rumeurs les plus folles et cristallisant les profondes fractures de la nation. À le cœur du problème, une crise de légitimité post-électorale aiguë. Le problème qui agite le palais de l'Unité n'est pas logistique ou protocolaire, il est profondément politique et lié à une crise de légitimité qui s'est considérablement aggravée suite à l'élection présidentielle d'octobre 2025. À l'ombre de la contestation, explications détaillées et exemples. Le président Paul Biya, à 92 ans, a été déclaré vainqueur pour un 8e mandat. Or, cette victoire est immédiatement et violemment contestée par l'opposition qui dénonce des fraudes électorales massives et un hold-up démocratique. L'exemple concret, ancrage dans la vie actuelle. La vie actuelle au Cameroun est marquée par des manifestations sporadiques et sévèrement réprimées, notamment dans des villes comme Douala et Yaoundé. Le citoyen lambda voit les forces de sécurité quadriller les principaux carrefours, comme le carrefour Warda ou le lieu-dit carrefour Mvogembei à Yaoundé. Les réseaux sociaux débordent de hashtags critiques comme #BiyaMustGo ou #FreeCameroun, témoignant d'une jeunesse et d'une opposition exaspérée qui se sentent flouées. La crispation est palpable, l'opposition refuse d'admettre le résultat, et le pouvoir tente de faire prévaloir son autorité par une démonstration de force. Les turbulences internes, un palais sous pression. Les remous ne sont pas uniquement externes. L'incertitude et la pression populaire et internationale génèrent des tensions internes au sommet du pouvoir. Lutte d'influence. Face à un président souvent absent ou peu visible, les clans au sein du régime, membres de l'appareil sécuritaire, figures du parti RDPC, aux fonctionnaires, intensifient leur lutte d'influence. Le sérieux problème peut signifier des désaccords majeurs sur la stratégie à adopter pour gérer la crise post-électorale, faut-il durcir la répression ou tenter une ouverture politique? Ces divisions internes affaiblissent l'image d'un pouvoir monolithique. La question de la succession, chaque crise ravive le débat non résolu de la succession du président Biya. Les regards se tournent vers les potentiels dauphins, chacun manœuvrant discrètement. La moindre rumeur d'absence prolongée ou de problèmes de santé devient un signe de faiblesse, exploité par les rivaux et interprété comme un vide de pouvoir à Yaoundé. Le reportage agréable, le Cameroun au bord de l'embrasement. Ce qui rend ce reportage si attractif et inquiétant, pour l'observateur, c'est le contraste saisissant entre l'apparente sérénité institutionnelle et le bouillonnement social qui menace d'éclater. À l'impact sur la société, explications détaillées et exemples. Le climat de haute tension qui règne autour du palais a des conséquences directes sur la vie des Camerounais. Le syndrome de la rétention, exemple de la vie actuelle. Par peur de l'escalade des violences, une partie de la population s'est ruée sur les marchés et les supermarchés, faisant des réserves de produits de première nécessité, riz, huile, sucre. Cet acte, anodin en temps normal, est un indicateur social fort, il exprime la méfiance et la peur d'un confinement ou d'une paralysie générale due aux troubles. C'est la preuve que les problèmes du palais se répercutent jusqu'aux étals des marchés d'Esso ou d'Aqua. Le déploiement sécuritaire, la présence massive et ostentatoire des forces de l'ordre autour des institutions et dans les grandes villes est un élément clé de la vie actuelle. Pour la population, c'est à la fois un gage, relatif, de sécurité et un rappel constant de l'état d'urgence latent. Les barrages filtrants, les contrôles d'identité accrus, tout cela crée un sentiment d'oppression et d'instabilité qui pèse lourdement sur l'économie informelle et la libre circulation. Fracture et risque d'instabilité prolongée. L'élection et la crise au palais ne font qu'exacerber des problèmes préexistants, rendant la situation d'autant plus grave. La crise anglophone, la contestation politique actuelle se superpose à la crise sécessionniste dans les régions du nord-ouest et du sud-ouest, déjà meurtrières. Une instabilité accrue au centre pourrait détourner l'attention et les ressources nécessaires à la résolution de cette crise, ou pire, encourager les séparatistes à intensifier leurs actions. Et les défis économiques, inflation, chômage des jeunes endémiques, bien au-delà de 30% dans certaines zones, et dette publique croissante. Ces problèmes du quotidien ne peuvent être résolus sans un pouvoir légitime et stable. Le sérieux problème au palais est un obstacle majeur à toute réforme structurelle urgente.
Je crois que c'est un miroir marron comme ça, grand bâtiment qui avait été abandonné dans des années et a été reconstruit, retravaillé et maintenant je crois que c'est à jour à l'heure actuelle. Il y a les gars qui vendent là les commerces, les habits à terre là comme ça le soir. Voilà, les gens connaissent la poste centrale. Donc mesdames et mesdemoiselles et messieurs, qu'est-ce qui se passe en réalité? Les manifestants camerounais, après avoir paralysé les autres localités, ils ont compris que ça n'a pas impacté le pouvoir en place. Tant que Yaoundé respire, le Cameroun vit. Vous comprenez? Tant que Yaoundé respire, le Cameroun vit. Il y a une manifestation à Bertois. Il y a une manifestation à Gaoundéré, Garoua, Maroua et leur environ. Il y a eu des manifestations à Douala, à l'ouest, nord-ouest, sud-ouest et j'en passe. Désormais, c'est la capitale. Mais qu'est-ce qui se passe? Incessamment, au mois de septembre, le commandant de l'Africom, ce général-là, le nouveau général qu'on a nommé incessamment, le commandant de l'Africom, qui avait remplacé le noir américain là, comment il s'appelle? Écrivez-moi son nom en commentaire. Il s'était rendu du côté de la présidence du Cameroun. Il a rencontré Paul Biya. Les gens croyaient que c'était pour des raisons sécuritaires. Non, c'était pour des raisons de santé du chef de l'État camerounais. Ça, c'est un secret que je vous dis. Et ils ont constaté que le chef de l'État du Cameroun peut bien organiser des élections et faire 2 à 3 ans. Sur le rapport, c'est un rapport officiel. Ce n'est pas moi qui dis. Il a envoyé du côté des États-Unis d'Amérique. C'est le commandant de l'Africom qui a fait son rapport. Après avoir rencontré le chef de l'État, il a envoyé ce rapport aux États-Unis d'Amérique. Dans ce rapport, il a dit que le chef de l'État, Paul Biya, n'est plus très apte comme il le faut. Ce n'est pas moi qui le dis. Et dans ce rapport, il a dit que le chef de l'État n'a plus toutes les capacités de sens pour encore mettre l'homme au sein de la présidence. Et il peut gérer le pays pendant 2 à 3 ans. Vous comprenez? Il ne peut pas finir les 7 ans. Allez voir en septembre, écrivez sur Google. Le commandant de l'Africom a rencontré Paul Biya. En septembre, vous allez voir, il était accompagné d'un de ses collaborateurs. Vous comprenez? Ce n'est pas moi qui le dis. Alors, qu'est-ce qui se passe? Ils ont constaté avec les services de renseignement français et américains que au sein des ministres camerounais, les ministres de Paul Biya, il y a des pro-russes. Ça, c'est un secret qu'on ne veut pas dire au monde, on ne veut pas dire aux gens. Il y a des pro-russes, des gens là qui collaborent avec la Russie. Au sein de l'armée camerounaise, il y a des pro-russes qui collaborent avec la Russie. Quel serait le scénario? Mesdames, mesdemoiselles et messieurs. Alors, d'office, si Issa Chiroma n'est pas conduit au fauteuil présidentiel, qu'est-ce qui va se passer? Ça serait des militaires. Ça risquerait d'être parce que les militaires sont en train de prendre une position, je ne sais pas comment qualifier ça, une position dans l'ombre, en même temps avec le peuple, donc je ne sais pas comment qualifier ça. Alors, si, et seulement si, les manifestations prennent sur Yaoundé comme dans les autres villes, on risquerait de trouver d'avoir un scénario comme celui de Madagascar. Pareillement semblable à celui de Madagascar. Si Yaoundé est déstabilisé, aucune ville ne pourra résister. Aucune ville ne pourra résister. Vous comprenez? Ça, c'est stratégique. Deuxièmement, si un militaire au Cameroun prend le pouvoir, excusez-moi de vous le dire, mais c'est une franche vérité, ce pouvoir ne serait jamais donné à M. Issa Chiroma. Ça, c'est une franche vérité. Ça ne serait jamais donné à M. Issa Chiroma. Pourquoi? Les gars partent te combattre pour te donner le fauteuil présidentiel, mais ça ne pourra pas. Et reste à savoir si c'est un militaire qui serait pro-russe qui va prendre le pouvoir. Parce qu'ils sont tapis dans l'ombre. Ils ne combattent pas les manifestants comme le peuple camerounais. Et les militaires ont leur propre sort sur eux. Et vous savez, stratégiquement, si le Cameroun est déstabilisé, c'est l'Afrique centrale, la zone CEMAC qui serait déstabilisée. La Centrafrique va souffrir. Parce qu'ils utilisent le port, les multiples ports du Cameroun. Le Tchad, pareil. Il y aura des réfugiés, abondance, afflux de réfugiés dans les pays voisins. Il y aura l'insécurité qui va régner. Les groupes terroristes, Boko Haram, Amba Boy, tout ça, ils vont prendre position. Et vous allez voir le côté du Grand Nord, dans certaines localités avec le soleil et, comment dirais-je, ils n'ont pas tout ce qu'il leur faut pour vivre. Le port serait du côté du sud, du Cameroun. Donc, ils seront paralysés. Et vous allez voir que l'Afrique centrale, globalement, il y aura une déstabilisation. La Centrafrique aura un chaos. Vous comprenez? Si le Cameroun est dans la tourmente là, la Centrafrique qui est avec la Russie, alors automatiquement, il faut un contrôle de la Russie là. Donc, selon les informations du service de renseignement français et américain, il y a des pro-russes au sein du régime politique et militaire camerounais qui veulent prendre la chose, mais dans une stratégie d'ombre sans précédent. Et il faut pour eux soit maintenir M. Paul Biya jusqu'à ce qu'il finisse son mandat, soit soutenir M. Issa Chiroma. Parce que les Occidentaux, eux, ils n'ont pas de problème, hein? C'est leur intérêt qu'ils cherchent. Ils s'en foutent de vous. Si vous voulez vous mourir, les Occidentaux, là, l'impérialiste, s'en foutent de vous. Vous pouvez voir en Ukraine. Ils se fichent des Ukrainiens. Si vous vivez ou pas, ils se fichent de vous. Ils se fichent de vous si vous voulez ou pas. Vous comprenez? Alors, mesdames, mesdemoiselles et messieurs, voilà la situation actuelle. Elle est totalement confuse. On ne connaît pas qui est le voleur. On ne connaît pas qui serait le vrai président. On ne connaît pas ce qui va se passer. On ne connaît non plus la suite des choses. C'est tellement confuse à un niveau sans précédent. Mesdames, mesdemoiselles et messieurs, mais cela n'empêche que nous continuons de suivre cette actualité le plus près que possible. Nous n'allons pas manquer de vous tenir informés par rapport à cette situation.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to this special edition of the joint broadcast by the Mimi Mefo Info platform, Cameroon News Agency platform, and the Beyond Africa podcast. We are reviewing updates in Cameroon regarding the elections. And of course, lots have happened since the election day on October 12. With the declaration of the results yesterday, October 26, there have been massive demonstrations and police reactions. Some international organizations and foreign diplomatic missions have started issuing statements. We are going to look at those statements, look at the reactions on the field, what is happening, whether human rights are affected, and if human rights are affected, what could be the recourse for those whose human rights have been affected, what the diplomatic community could do, and what Issa Chiroma Bakari, who knows that he won the elections by the results that he published, has up his sleeves at this moment. But one thing is certain, Cameroon's Minister of Territorial Administration, Mr. Paul Ntanganji, was out today threatening everybody. The media, podcasters, Issa Chiroma Bakari, demonstrators, and everyone who dares to have a contrary opinion to what he thinks. Is that what the world should be? Is that how Cameroon is going to be governed over the next 7 years? Even assuming that there were no electoral contestations, the signs are not bright. The signs are bleak for the future. If Paul Ntanganji believes that his candidate won the elections squarely and fairly, would he need to go into such threats to ensure that his candidates can rule Cameroon? These and all others are what we are going to review today. Before we introduce our guest to you, let me introduce you to our one and only Mimi Mefo.
Thank you so much, Bernard, and to all our viewers across Cameroon and across the globe. It's our pleasure having you once again with us tonight. Bernard already planté le décor, as we say it in French. And it's amazing to have each and every one of you again tonight with us. As he said, we are already having reactions as well from the international scene. International organizations like the European Union, Human Rights Watch, and Amnesty International have been reacting. In a statement today, the EU said that it is deploring the death by firearms of civilians and calling for transparency, accountability, and justice, words that many Cameroonians have been waiting for several weeks now. We remember in our previous discussions, consistently questioned the place and the role of the international community when it comes to the situation in Cameroon. Now, the European Union has urged the government to release all those who are unjustly detained within the context of the October 12th presidential election in Cameroon. And the EU also reminded Yaoundé of its obligations under the Samoa Agreement that Cameroon is signatory to, which binds nations to principles of democracy and human rights. But the EU is not the only institution or organization that is reacting. Like I said, we have the Human Rights Watch. We also have Amnesty International. Amnesty International is demanding that Cameroonian authorities should respect, protect, and facilitate the rights to peaceful assembly, peaceful demonstration, while calling for a prompt, independent, and impartial investigation into the deaths. And while the Amnesty International organization is reacting and calling for independent investigations, we are seeing that more people are dying. So far, the death toll has risen to 10 across the national territory, according to reports that we are having from the different regions of the country, as far as the post-election protests in Cameroon is concerned. Now, Human Rights Watch, on its part, ahead of the final proclamation, warned that whatever the outcome is, there should be the respect of the rule of law and democratic will of the people, and said that the democratic will of the people is very essential. Now, these statements are coming after the Constitutional Council declared 92-year-old President Paul Biya winner of an election that has been termed controversial, the will of the people stolen and the victory of the people stolen, extending his term or his rule to extending his 43-year rule. It means that by the time President Paul Biya's mandate ends, this is his 8th term in office. By the time this mandate ends, he is going to be 99, and he must have ruled the country for about 50 years. Now, this announcement has triggered
Did we lose Mimi?
nationwide protests. Yes,
I think Mimi
Bernard
was saying that by the time Paul Biya mandate ends, this current mandate ends, Paul Biya will be about 100 years old. Because
yes,
he is 92 now and getting to 93.
Yes, that's right. Yes, thank you, Bernard. Now,
So
this
to discuss
announcement.
these issues today, I would like to discuss these issues today. We have with us Barrister Felix Nkongo Agbobala, who is one of the leading human rights advocates in Cameroon. He's been following the trends of the politics in recent years, and he's been a leading voice when it concerns.
Okay, so yes, I think Bernard was saying that Felix Nkongo Agbo has been a leading voice when it comes to human rights violation politics in the country, the Anglophone crisis as well. We've seen him standing out when it comes to this election that was taking place in Cameroon. We also saw him on the side of the presidential candidate Issa Shoma Bakari, who was declared himself winner of the election. Barrister, good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Good evening, Mimi. Good evening, Ngali. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure and honor to be your guest, because you're one of the finest, and we've come a long way back. You're an icon in terms of investigative journalism, in terms of using the media to address issues that don't touch and concern the people, kind of people-centric journalists. So it's always, a joy and feeling of excitement and elation indeed when I am part of your team for an interview.
Thank you so much, Barrister, for those compliments. Welcome again. We've seen a lot of people have died since President Paul Biya was declared winner, and even before that, some people were already killed in the city of Douala and also in Garoua. What is your reaction when you see these things happening, Barrister?
A reaction of very sadness, very disappointed. One dead too many. In 2025, we are not supposed to be wasting the lives, especially of young men and women, over something that we are supposed to have a solution over an election where people are not supposed to be killed. This is not the whole definition of democracy, where elections are the will of the people, reflect the wishes and aspirations of the common man and woman. It's unfortunate that with the way we toy with human life in this country, the way we show disregard and disdain to human beings, and the worthlessness in the lives of Cameroonians, it is very unfortunate. So I feel sad. I feel saddened by the loss of lives, destruction of property, and the time that we are wasting, whereas we're supposed to be building a nation, not only for today, but for future Cameroonians.
We saw you with Issa Chiroma Bakare prior to the election, and you actually endorsed him as you saw him as the candidate for the people and a candidate that can bring the change that Cameroon needs. But on Monday, yesterday, the Constitutional Council declared something different from what many Cameroonians expected, including certainly yourself and Issa Chiroma Bakare. How do you feel that he is not the winner of the October 12th election?
Well, maybe let me just take you a little bit back. Well, yes, I endorsed Issa Chiroma. It was a process. I'd met Issa Chiroma twice before endorsing him. I met him twice. Then I traveled. I sent him a letter in which I articulated, it was more of a private letter, certain things that if he assures me that he could do it for my people in this sense is the people of the Southwest and Northwest region, if he could do these things to them, I would endorse him and I would join him on the campaign trail. And I informed him that I'd never endorsed anybody. And I made sure, and I said clearly in my letter to him, that this is not about my personal gain. It's about the people that I feel that I represent, that I speak on behalf of them. That's what I assured him.
So it seems the network is failing everyone today. That is our guest, Felix Nkongo Akpo. They're joining us from Cameroon. Certainly, he will try to sort out his network and join us again.
Can you hear me?
Hopefully it's working this time. Yes, Barrister.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and you're on. Yeah.
To me, he was the people's choice. He was the candidate of the coalition. And when I talk about a coalition, I'm not talking necessarily about a coalition of political parties. In an interview that I'd given somewhere, I'd said that when the political leaders, if they fail to come together, the people and the civil society should come together and decide and determine their candidate. And that is what happened. So he was a coalition candidate of the people of Cameroon. And that's something which is important. So we did the campaign respecting the laws to the best of our abilities. And from the information that we got, Mr. Chiroma is supposed to have won the elections. And what was logical was that the Constitutional Council would respect ELECAM first. And subsequently, the Constitutional Council would respect the wishes and aspirations of the people who voted for Mr. Chiroma. Unfortunately, yesterday, the Constitutional Council, which is a body that was created by Mr. Biya, handpicked members of the council tailor-made to satisfy his whims and caprices, to play to his biddings, did the obvious in the eyes of those who appointed him as the winner of the election. It's unfortunate because it was a sad day, a bitter day for this country, for the progress that we have made as a country in terms of democracy and openness. We took steps behind because of the fact that the wishes of the people wasn't respected by ELECAM and the Constitutional Council.
Like you said, it was really a sad day. We saw thousands of Cameroonians really in despair yesterday after the Constitutional Council proclaimed the President Paul Biya as winner. Barrister, I just wanted to find out from you, I mean, following up with that discussion, because you said that when you reached out to Issa Shoma Bakari, the people of the Northwest and the Southwest regions were your main goal, they were your objective, they were the regions, people in these regions were the reason why you decided to endorse Issa Shoma, because you believed that he is the man of the moment and that he could do something to end the conflict that started in 2016. Looking at the results in these regions that favored President Paul Biya, more than 80% in the Northwest, more than 60% in the Southwest. How do you feel seeing that? Because we've seen a lot of condemnations from people from these regions.
Maybe it was a farce. It's the biggest scam that has happened in this century. In the history of electioneering, racketeering, and theft, this would go down as the biggest in the history of humankind. If you were to equate these to the gravity of crimes, this would morph to a level of electoral genocide. That is the level. You know, it is a crime against a people with an intent to show to the world that people who for the last 8 years have been displaced from their homes, have been arbitrarily arrested and detained. Some have been named. Their villages have been burned. They have not been able to go to school. Their brothers and sisters are refugees. They would vote for the perpetrator of these heinous crimes against their people. This is the worst crime that I have seen in this country for a long time. It is embarrassing. It is disgusting. And I will tell you that the people who are part of this widespread and systematic election theft, they have lost any respect I have for them in my eyes. Whether you call them honorable, whether you call them chiefs, whether you call them senators, they are as midgetal in my eyes like anything. They don't need any respect in the eyes of anybody. You cannot tell me, it is unfathomable that you will tell me that in the Southwest and the Northwest, Mr. Biya had his cause in hand. In places where the elections could not be rigged, in Fako, for example, he was clearly defeated. You know, they came up with imaginary votes. And this is something that was spearheaded by the honorable members, senators, ministers. These are people who teach their kids that stealing, lies telling, fraud should be punishable. And they use that as a badge of honor. They are using that for them to maintain their position in government. They are dishonorable persons in my eyes. And I think in the eyes of every sane and reasonable person from the Southwest and Northwest, none of them. And I don't want to use very hard language like Bibi would say, I will spit on their graves, you know. But what they have done to the people of this region, it's so embarrassing. It's so shameful. And they have the audacity to do after parties, to celebrate. What are you celebrating? You're celebrating theft? You are celebrating scamming of people? I mean, you should be hiding your head somewhere.
Yes, just Barrister, I like the way the conversation is going, but maybe you have to take off your headset, Bernard. Am I correct? Because it fades in and out, and people really need to understand and hear you.
Okay. I've taken it off. So can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
we can hear you now.
can hear now.
This is something that the people who have done this are supposed to bury their head in shame, not to be celebrated. I don't want to say their champagne party would end. Their champagne party is ended. It goes beyond the last kicks of a dying horse. It clearly showed that the people had risen up, just like how they rose up in 2016 and 2017 to say enough is enough. the people had risen up against those who have held them captive for all these years. For those who think only about themselves, for those whose priority is about themselves and the children, at the expense of.
So you are saying that the results that we saw from the northwest and the southwest did not exist and they are false.
No. These are just cooked up results. These are just cooked up results, and they know. Unfortunately for them, the people they are trying to please, their brothers in the party who are from East Cameroon, they know that these results were cooked up. So whoever thinks that this result would be used to reappoint him or her, their comrades know that these results were faulty. These results were cooked up. So at the end of the day, yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for that introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry about what just happened with the network. It's just a technical issues, and they happen every now and then. We are sorry, but we're happy that we are back. Barrister, in 2018, you are one of those who represented Maurice Kamto and the MRSA at the Constitutional Council during the post-electoral litigation, and you made a strong case for the annulment of the elections based on what happened in the Anglophone zones, Northwest and Southwest regions.
Yeah.
In 2025, you endorsed Chiruma's candidacy, despite the fact that the Constitutional Council kicked out or ignored all the petitions, all the reasoned and intelligent arguments that you made in 2018. Did you have any hope in 2025 that the system was going to read the results from the ballot box as you saw them?
No, I didn't. To be honest, I didn't have any hope. I think I initially said, because you could tell, Elekam and the Constitutional Council. The Constitutional Council was created, tailor-made to ensure that Mr. Biya perpetuates himself in power. It gives it a cloak of legality, because they can argue that this is the highest court in the land that has confirmed what Elekam has confirmed the victory of Mr. Biya, and you cannot appeal beyond the Constitutional Council. So we have a problem in this country because institutions are used as a tool, or the law is used as a mechanism to violate rights, to trample on the will of the people. If you look at the definition of terrorism, the anti-terrorism law, it's just a transposition of the Aijos law that he used, and that has been transformed to a modern anti-terrorism law. So it's always used, unfortunately, it's always used against the people. But there was something in the spirit that says never die, never give up that. Because unlike in 2018, this was overwhelming, that the gentlemen at Elekam and the Constitutional Council would at least, for one, say, you know what, this is the time to say goodbye to the regime in place, and let's allow the will of the people. Because it was clear, I'm telling you, even to some of the members of the ruling party, who I know, some of them had called to congratulate us. They knew they were defeated. In private conversations, they accepted the fact that they had been defeated. Everybody who had eyes, the blinds literally saw that they were defeated. There was joy and euphoria everywhere. Because it wasn't about Issa Chiruma. It was about every Cameroonian. It was about the potholes. It was about driving from Douala to Boya. That was enough to anti-campaign the ruling party. It was about the garbage. It was about everything that created an enabling environment for them to be defeated. It wasn't anybody. They themselves created the enabling environment for them to be defeated. Unfortunately,
you've set the pace on the argument that the elections lack credibility, therefore the outcome is not legitimate. And on the legal front, we have already hit the summit of all appeals of all of the legal procedure, which is the Constitutional Council. It doesn't have any appeal after that. And Issa Chiruma called on Cameroonians to get out on the streets and celebrate the victory on Sunday, which was done across the country. And yesterday, we still saw mobilizations across the streets. At this point, is sovereignty coming back to the people? Are the people trying to get back their sovereignty to gain legitimacy? Or are the people going to continue in the line of legality, void of legitimacy?
It's a kind of a catch-22. It's a very dicey kind of situation between people's power that gives them the legitimacy to do what they are doing, and also look at sovereignty from another aspect. You know, when you look at legality, on that the Constitutional Council has acknowledged the fact that Mr. B has won. While the streets, we the people, as the Constitution says, they say no, we won. How do we get a kind of a win-win situation? That is to me, that is a question. A win-win situation where Cameroon comes out as the victor in such a situation. How do we understand that people have a right to protest? It's a fundamental right to protest, fundamental freedom them to protest. Their right to protest and assembly, but at the same time that the state owes them a duty to protect them and not to use excessive force in carrying down the protests, whilst equally also ensuring that the protest doesn't go overboard to destroy public and private property. That is the thin line that one has to navigate. If we were dealing in a real proper world or country where democracy thrives, they would be listening to the people on the streets. They'll be asking questions. Why did we win, but the streets are ungovernable? There is a serious problem. They would be talking. They would be trying to find a solution. Not the kind of arrogance that we have seen either in their celebration or coming out from the mouth of certain ministers, which incites the population, which adds fuel to an already volatile situation. How does everybody calm down, try to reason, and then we'll find a solution?
I think that on this note, we have to bring on board Barrister Michelle Ndoki, who has also joined us. Yesterday, we couldn't see her beautiful face, but she is here with us today to also talk about the post-election protest and how people have started dying. People are killed. We are seeing in different regions how people are being shot by the military. But the Barrister Felix Kongo was saying something during his discussion with Bernard. He was really questioning the credibility of the Constitutional Council and even the elections governing body, the vote counting commission, and so on and so forth. And I was just wondering, Barrister Michelle Ndoki, I wanted to find out from you, do you think Issa Chiruma Bakari was right to have told the people, Cameroonians who have been standing by him, that it wasn't necessary to wait and hear from the Constitutional Council on Monday?
Yes, I think he was right. And I'll give you one reason. Soon after he did that, when the National Commission in charge of compiling the votes gave their own result, you remember the newspapers, first page everywhere, Biya has won with the majority. It was everywhere. So that means, in fact, it's not illegal at all to proclaim, to announce the results as we know it. It becomes illegal when you're not saying that Paul Biya has won. So I think he was right, because one of the key learnings from 2018 is that we have to own the narrative, because otherwise it becomes a communication battle. We are facing a regime which takes pride in suppressing freedom of expression. So anything, especially if you want to uphold the truth, you have to fight your way to the position where you will be upholding that truth. So the fastest you declare what you believe is right and true, the better. Because otherwise, you find yourself in a defense position where the regime has already spread their lies all over, and I've experienced it in my personal life. How many times was I obliged to show my leg because they had spread a myth according to which I made up the wounds on my leg? How many times? So because you are not there to control that narrative, you lose in an environment like ours. It was crucial for him to say, after everything that has been done, for me to be able to control the results at the end of the day. I can tell you this is what happened, or I'm ahead of my competitors. It was essential, because otherwise it would have been too late. And it doesn't make sense to tell people that it is only the Constitutional Council that is authorized to proclaim the result. Proclaim has a meaning in law. Proclaim means it is you, the body in question, that has the power. The announcement that is made by that body is the announcement that counts. That's what it means to proclaim. That is, you are the one entitled to say, finally, this is what we are going to consider the result. It doesn't mean that nobody can talk about it earlier. And if you take in other countries, where, take France, that I know well, take even Senegal last year. When the following morning they announced that Diomaye Faye had won, it was not the proclamation. That was not a proclamation under the law. The official body in charge of proclaiming the result did that few days after. And the result that they proclaimed was slightly different. You always see a difference of 0.3, 0.4, 0.7%. That is what is called proclamation. But nobody waits until then. In all our modern societies, in France, the day of the election, when they announced this is who is going to be the president of the country at 8 p.m., it is not a proclamation.
Yeah,
it is the result of a census, or yes.
Yeah,
and
even in Côte d'Ivoire.
After, sorry.
Yeah, even in Côte d'Ivoire yesterday yesterday Monday, the results of the elections were already announced provisionally by the elections management body. And I think the problem in Cameroon is when you stop the elections management body from announcing the results as they come in, you create a dark period, you create a vacuum of information, and that is where they want to control the narrative. And
exactly.
Yeah, you mentioned something about narrative control. Do you think by Chiruma declaring and publishing the reports that you are part of those who collected, he actually won the communications battle and the narrative to the extent that more Cameroonians believe his version of the story over the official version of the story?
Yes. Why is that? Because we've always been working in silos in Cameroon. So you will know what happened in Douala, but you will not know what happened in Northwest and Southwest. So when you know what happened in your polling station, and you're happy with what happened in your polling stations, but 2 weeks after they tell you, oh, Paul Biya has won again, you're disappointed, but you can't say anything to the contrary, because you don't know what happened elsewhere. By announcing it from a national perspective, he allowed us to be confident that what happened in our own area corresponded to what happened elsewhere. And I think it was important because this was clearly, as Eric Tunde has always put it, a referendum against the regime. So it was important for us to know that everywhere in Cameroon, people, our brothers and sisters, shared this feeling that we needed to get rid of this regime. I think it was awaited as some sort of recognition of all the efforts put in to get to that result. I mean, the voters forgot all the divisions, all the problems of religion, tribes, everything. They just put it aside. They even decided to forget the grievances they might have against Issa Chiroma Bakari. We put that as a people, we put all of that aside because we were of the opinion that the one thing that matters is we know how harmful this regime is to us all over the country. And this is the problem we have to solve as a matter of priority. So
Thank you so much.
Difference.
Yeah. Thank you so much, La Fiancée du Peuple. I don't know if you still use that our name, but yeah. Let's welcome Jean-Claude Mbede. He's also been following up developments around the elections, and he just told me off the screen that he's been doing some compilation of reactions. So we were talking with Maître Ndoki about the communication battle. Jean-Claude, do you have the impression that the communication battle, if it's succeeded internally, has also succeeded externally?
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to say to great your very great guest, starting from Barrister in Congo. I think this is, I think I saw him last time in Munich 7 years ago. So, and also to Barrister Michel Ndoki, as well as Mimi. Thank you so much for having me once again. So, talking about communication, yeah, it is what's lacking, I think. And even we are asking ourselves who is governing, who is managing our state at this step, because quand vous voyez ce que ces gens sont en train de faire, les hommes d'État ne gouvernent pas. On ne peut pas gouverner un État comme le Cameroun avec des émotions, avec ce que nous sommes en train de voir aujourd'hui. Ils sont en train de perdre. En fait, ils ont troqué la communication avec la propagande. Et malheureusement, ce régime qui procède par la manipulation a pensé que la propagande allait passer parce que ils sont à bout de leurs prévisions. On ne peut plus rien attendre en termes d'innovation stratégique avec eux. C'est complètement, ils sont au bout de ce qu'ils avaient parce qu'ils n'avaient pas prévu plus que ça. D'ailleurs, lorsque vous avez comme le parti au pouvoir qui a quand même les meilleurs experts, parmi les meilleurs experts du Cameroun qui sont des anciens de communication et de stratégie, on les a mis de côté pour confier la gestion de la communication et de la propagande à des professionnels de médias puisqu'ils travaillent pour des chaînes de télévision, mais qui ont plutôt décidé au cours d'une élection aussi capitale que celle-ci de venir expérimenter leurs petites connaissances en termes d'intelligence artificielle pour produire les fake news, ainsi de suite. C'est pour tout un régime, ces jeunes garçons qu'on a vus là, qu'on a embarqués pour essayer de manipuler l'opinion publique de tout un pays. Et ils ne feront pas plus que ça. La preuve en est que lorsque nous avons commencé à démontrer les limites, à démonter d'abord les fake news et la propagande malsaine qui était faite, et que nous avons démontré les fake news qu'il y avait, et c'est là où la violence a commencé. Parce que lorsque vous discutez avec un inculte, quelqu'un qui n'est pas intellectuellement élaboré, et vous allez vous rendre compte que les personnes qui sont violentes, même dans la violence conjugale, ainsi de suite, ce sont les personnes qui ne sont pas capables d'avoir une assise intellectuelle pour pouvoir discuter avec des partenaires. C'est exactement ça à quoi nous assistons maintenant de la part de ce gouvernement. Ils avaient prévu de manipuler l'opinion jusqu'à la fin et ils avaient prévu que jusqu'à la proclamation des résultats, leur manipulation aurait suffi à mettre tout le monde au garde à vous et ils n'avaient pas planifié ça. Or, quand on gouverne un État, il y a beaucoup de précautions à prendre. Il y a toujours un plan A, un plan B. On doit toujours savoir. D'ailleurs, lorsque vous êtes ministre, vous cotez.
Nous sommes déjà presque arrivés à la fin de cette édition spéciale, l'une des chaînes sociopolitiques. Alors, bienvenue donc pour la prochaine.